Hello and welcome. Silrace here with some more talk about Elder Scrolls Online, and this time I'm gonna talk about voice acting specifically. However, firstly, background footage is some Skyrim action again, because I still play the game from time to time, do things differently, try different builds, that sort of stuff, and big thank you to all the modders out there, not just for Skyrim, but for every game which can be modded. But let's talk about Elder Scrolls Online and voice acting in Elder Scrolls Online. Because, frankly, I have nothing against voice acting in general. But there are some things I simply cannot agree with as of this time. And one of them is having a theme park MMORPG. Such as Elder Scrolls Online. It's not a sandbox, it's a theme park MMO. With everything voice acting. This is not something I can agree with, simply because if we look backwards to previous theme park MMORPGs, World of Warcraft, Star Wars, The Old Republic, EverQuest, so on, players of MMORPGs churn through content faster than the developers can bring more out. By a large margin. Now when you add in the fact that everything has to be then voice acted, all the new content you bring in, whether that is new dungeons, entire new continents, or new side quests or whatever, all of it has to be voice acted. This means that there is even more bigger development time for all of these things. All of this new content has more development time put into it because you have to record the voices of the voice actors. You might have to find the same voice actor if it was voice acting a previous NPC in the game, so there is no two different voices for the same NPC, and so on. And this means obviously larger production time for all this stuff. And that means content comes slower. And will this end up frustrating players? Will they have nothing to do for quite a while? Possibly. I cannot know right now what the endgame looks like, if there is even any endgame content as we speak for this time, but you might see my point of view here. It will take more time to bring in the new content. And also, side quests. You cannot simply add a new quicker side quest for players to, go through, because it has to be voice acted as well. So my view is that in MMORPGs such as this, I would love to see the main quests, the more important stuff being voice acted, and the side stuff could be text only. I would be absolutely fine with that, and that would mean that it would be easier and quicker to bring in side content and new side quests and stuff like that, which doesn't need to be voice acted, but it just need to be written. Because that would cut into the development time. And also, there is always the cost factor. How much stuff does get dropped and will maybe get dropped because, hiring the voice actor back or whatnot might cost some money. It always costs some money to produce things. So some things might be dropped simply because cannot afford the voice acting for them at this time. Maybe it will come in the future. Who knows? So let me know in the comment section below. How would you like to see this? Do you specifically want everything to be voice acted, even though you realize there are some consequences to this, such as the content comes in slower, for example? Or would you be okay with side quests and so on being text only? Or would you like to play again a game which is text only, where you read stuff and don't have to listen to NPCs? Then let's touch on another issue. Have you any of you taken a proper look at the voice actor list for this particular game, this Elder Scrolls Online? The names such as Jennifer Hale, Liam Neeson, Malcolm McDowell, these kind of big names. And why are they there? Because apparently familiar voices This is not something I can ever agree with. God damn it, man. You don't need to bring familiar voices, in all honesty, to make us feel like we are familiarized into the game. Like, when I move from a game to a new game, even inside the same genre of games, I don't need the game to feel like I am playing the previous iteration of it. Like, a good example of this is when I moved from World of Warcraft to Star Wars The Old Republic. They really tried to make Star Wars The Old Republic feel like the same old, you know? So it feels familiar. They actually said this. And that to me is entirely wrong. Make your own vision of the game, you know? And then stay true to that. I don't need to have like, oh, all the controls are the same, all the spells feel the same, they have functioned like this previously. This gets players into that mindset of, well, I have played this thing before, this is how the new game should work as well. And this is simply not good for the creativity of the game designers and developers out there. Because then they have to bring stagnated products and so on, and MMORPGs in general are already rather stagnated to date. However, now I'm going side route here. I wanted to talk about familiar voices, and this is another issue I have here. Why would you hire big names? You don't need to do that, in all honesty. I mean, for example, Jennifer Hale voice acting Titanborn, who you get to meet for like 2 minutes in the beginning of the game, and then something happens, basically. Are they going to bring that in as another character much later down the story? Probably, very possibly. But if they don't, was that an entire waste of potential? I mean, just bringing in Jennifer Hale for a couple minutes of talk in the early parts of the game just to show you, oh, that is Jennifer Hale, and then you never get to see her, or rather hear her again in the game. You get my point here. Like, there is Kate Beckinsale and so on, and all of these have only certain amount of things to say. Not necessarily a lot of stuff to say, or not necessarily even interesting things to say. But there is no real reason, in my honest opinion, to bring big names such as this into the game to make players feel like they are, you know, familiarized into the game simply because they hear a voice they have heard before. The problem is that majority of these NPCs are in locations or places where you don't have a lot of interaction with them. You basically talk to them a few times, and then that's it. You heard the familiar voice for all of 3 minutes, and then you go out into the wild and continue killing random things or doing quests for random NPCs whose voice actors you have never heard of before anyway. Or doing some PvP where you don't exactly hear any voice actors anyway. So tell me, what do you think? Should games be filled with all these familiar voices? Or would you like to see more lines with, you know, cheaper voice actors when it comes to salary and stuff? Because that's what I would love to see. Many more voice acted lines and cheaper voice actors. That is my feeling on it. But I would like to hear about you as well in the comment section below. What do you think? More lines, not quite so familiar voices, or do you like this sort of Liam Neeson, Kate Beckinsale, Jennifer Hale thing in this game as well? And also let me know about the earlier parts of, like, would you like to see this game in entirely, you know, not see it because obviously it is, but what do you think about the whole have everything voice acted versus have something only or none at all? Thank you very much for watching. This ended up being a little sidetracked and a little bit of a rambling, but hopefully it made at least some sense to you. And if you watched this to the end, kudos to you. You are more patient than some people. Thank you very much for watching again.